So contours.
All right, so we are doing helping out with day 2 of flight school for WOC McDonald here. We're going to be doing flight planning, formation flying, and then both day and night, formation flying day and night, and then we are going to be doing um, hopping in the Apache. I'm not sure exactly if Chief's going to do it, if I'm going to do it. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but then he's going to do auto rotations and anti-torque failures. So this is all about WOC McDonald today, and I'm just here to assist. So might be a lot of standing around here in the beginning, but then we'll get into some formation planes and things like that.
Not at this time.
Perfect. All right, so the next thing we're going to move into is the map tools. So to use the map tools while you're in the map, you're going to do a self-interact. It's going to be middle option, web map tools. Go ahead and do show normal map tools. And then once you click on it, you'll have to zoom out and then go to the far southwest corner to get your compass. And then from there, you can left click it and drag it wherever you need to. So if you kind of look at the center, put that on fob shifty, just as an example, and then tell me what the azimuth is using your map compass to the town of Rhodopoly, which is out to our east. So if you want to go ahead and rotate that dial, it's going to be Alt as the default, and then left click, and then you can drag that to the point where you need to, and then obviously come back and find out what your azimuth is.
So, I'm sorry. So you said, am I taking a compass or the map tool?
So the compass is the map tool.
Hey
Okay.
Zima, how you doing, buddy?
So I have the
So
map tool, and you said bring it. It's over fob shifty now.
yeah, so just put the center over fob shifty, and then you're gonna click left Alt and then left click, and then you can rotate that.
Ah, okay. That's how that works.
Yeah, and then you just point it wherever you think you want to go, and that'll give you. You have to come back. Don't use the white one. Use the
Oh, not
degrees.
bad. Had a
Obviously,
long ass day of work
we
today.
don't we don't need to use radians here.
Good to be home. Good to be off work.
And you
Gonna do some
said
flying here in
find
a little bit.
Yeah, just
So
tell me what
yeah,
the
not
azimuth
bad.
is.
of
From here to Rhodopoly, it's this little town out here.
one zero 101 degrees.
All right, perfect. Um, so the next thing you'll see about the map compass, now that you have it pointed down there at the bottom edge, you're going to have your distance there, so you can kind of figure out, what the distance is from here to Rhodopoly. So again, since you already have it on 550 and it's already pointed at Rhodopoly, at this point, all you have to do is do the left click and drag it so that the zero is facing, sitting over 550. And then just go down, you figure out roughly where Rhodopoly is, and you get somewhere between, 3.7 kilometers or so to Rhodopoly. So that is true for both the normal map tool and the small map tool. The real big difference between the two is the small one's only going to go to 3 clicks, whereas this one goes to 6. So I just recommend use the normal one.
Okay.
But if you're following along on the map, or in the document, you can kind of see, what the difference is since it's got 2 pictures in there. If you need the bigger one for if you want to find like the exact 8-digit grid, it may be helpful. But I just recommend using the normal one. And then last but not least, if you go ahead and click your map tools or your self ace interact, and then you have go for the map tools, and then you're going to have a few extra options there. You're going to have align map tool to compass, and then you're going to have align map tool to north. So if you want to use that little tool there to figure out your grid, you can just use that. So this is a little bit confusing, and so I'm active duty military as well. So the way I describe this always is wrong. Give me 1 second. All right, so if you ever use like that GTA that you use to find your 8-digit grid, you know how it has that triangle in there. The one that you have here is actually backwards, so it's a little weird trying to make that transition. So if you just want to kind of figure out, roughly where we are, I gotta think about how we do this. So we should be roughly
Hopefully I will
1
be.
5. So you're
Being the
gonna,
two I
in this
see
case, you just put, since
for
it's a
Bravo
line to the
section,
north,
and Chief
you're gonna
is
put
the
where the
Bravo
00
Command,
is
and
um,
McDonald's in Bravo section.
on
I'm
your
planning
location.
on it.
So
It
you'll
just
have
depends
1
on my
5.
work
You'll see
schedule
that
and all that
along
stuff
the
as
border
far
of
as
your
when
map.
he has it
You'll see all the
scheduled.
markers for the
This worked out
grid
actually
square.
really well because I
So you
just
got
got
your
off
1
work at
5,
7
and then
and
you
I was
just
able
use
to
the
get
compass
home
to
in time
figure
to
out.
log
So
on.
this looks like roughly 1 1, so 1 5 1 1, and then you'll go 1 7 2 2 or so roughly. Does that make sense?
Kind of lost.
Okay, so so you got your compass facing north, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then you take your uh, X and Y axis where they both say 0, that where they intersect,
Mm-hmm.
and put that over your current location.
Okay.
All right, so then you'll see, and remember, you read the map, top and then from the left. So you read the top numbers first, and then the ones on the side. So you got your 1 5. You'll see that on the border at the top, the major one. You see that?
Yes.
Okay, so and then for your compass that you got with that Y and X axis over your position, you're gonna just wherever that line lines up will be yours. So you don't have to do it's not backwards like the GTA is. So you do, in this case it's like 1 5 1 1, and then you'll have
Yeah, don't worry. This is
1
confusing
7.
me too.
I gotta zoom in to see that. Looks like 2 2 maybe, or 2 2 3.
2 3.
Yeah, but you see that? And then if you just want to validate that, you can actually just use your 6-digit grid, which is 1 5 1 1 7 1. So it's 1 5 1 1 7 1, and then you just got to figure out the last digit there.
All right, makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of goofy, but we don't typically use 8-digit grids here. We typically just go with the 6-digit. So you'll typically get like 6-digit grid and then a keypad. That's what you'll hear them say. They'll say keypad, 1 through 9, and what that is referencing. So if I were to use the grid here, it'd be 1 5 1 1 7 2, keypad 4. To give us roughly where it is. So if you take the numpad off your keyboard and you overlay it inside of that 6-digit grid square, roughly where those numbers appear in that grid square would be the keypad. So sometimes you'll hear it, but again, it's typically not used within 506, but just something good to know. All right, any questions on map tools?
Negative.
All right, and obviously your digital rugged tablet has map tools as well, but I'm not gonna I'll reiterate that from day one. And then at this time, if you want, you can go ahead and see what the small map tools looks like. But essence, the same deal, just a little bit smaller. All right, so the last little bit, as you're still in the map, as you move your mouse around, you're going to see a red bracket that is where your cursor is. If you left click, that's how you get the little blue dot. If you do a left control, left shift, you can get straight lines on there really well. If you do just a control, you can draw, any number of crazy shapes that you want. So if you wanted to play tic-tac-toe with somebody on the map, I suppose you could do that. And then obviously in the top right there, next to your name and rank, you're going to see two little down arrows. First one will change the color. So you can see here is like civilian, and then you can also change types of marks you put down, just depending on what type of operation you're doing. All right. Let's see. Is there anything else that I forgot about?
I think you covered it all there, Chief.
All right. So we'll go ahead and move on to exercise 1 if there's no questions. So this exercise is an exercise in your ability to take the terrain. We're not gonna, we're gonna keep it pretty simple here. We're not gonna add in anything crazy for enemy threats or anything like that you'll have to consider for day 2. But going forward, that is something that you'll have to think about.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and mark 2 points on the map, and then I want you to plan a route to both of those. So give me just a second here, and we will get started.
I'm running to the bathroom real quick, but I still have my headset.
All right.
For God's sakes, don't hit the mic.
Okay, I'm back. And no, I would never do that unless I'm playing a trick on someone.
All right, so I got the first mark down there to the dam, so you can go ahead and start coming up with a flight plan as I find the second one.
All right. Am I landing right on that marker?
Thereabouts.
So this is always an interesting one here because they drop down a mark and then we have to basically plan a flight path from where we're at. Obviously, we have to take terrain features into account, hilltops, things like that. We want to try to avoid as much altitude adjustments as possible. We're going to be lifting off over here from Fob Shifty, right about in this area. you know, whether we take a runway departure
Just make sure you put the
or
line in side
a
channel
direct
so we can all see
departure.
it.
Okay, I'm just
The main thing that we want to
looking over
avoid
everything before
is
I.
flying over
Yep,
towns.
no worries.
So, but again, it's kind of the flight lead's plan. But we want to always try to avoid flying over towns. Now, if this was me personally, I would probably take off, come over, taxi to the runway, take off down the runway, and then I would probably swing out here over the bay, come over this little peninsula here, make a turn into there. I'm kind of avoiding these hilltops, and then right into the LZ. So that's kind of like what I would do. That way we eliminate all these towns here. We don't have to worry about flying over them, trying to weave through them. You know, we got our hilltop here that we would have to worry about. So we could also do a direct departure straight to the south, and then swing in. You know, so a couple of ways we can go with this. But as long as we avoid these towns and try to avoid too much altitude changes, that would be ideal.
Okay.
Yeah, and that looks like kind of what he's planning on there. Oh, he's even going to come further down and then come up directly north. So yeah, that's good too.
You done with the first one?
Yes, I'm done with that first one. The second one, is there a certain AGL that I need to be, or just?
Well, that's all right now. Just worry about the actual route.
Okay.
I mean, obviously you'll need to consider that later on, so kind of keep that in the back of mind as you plot.
Okay, second one's up here. Oh, this is a toughie. That's way mountainous up in there. Yeah, that's a tough spot. That might be where I can't remember where mine was. So you see he's got us going around the side of the hill here. And So now, if I were to lift off from here, personally, I would probably take a flight up this draw. And we do have a little factory here, but it's not a town. So I would probably come up this draw out over the water. And then, yeah, that's all hills and ridge lines and everything. Not a really good spot, but come out over the water and then maybe come in direct from the west. Yeah, that's a better path that he chose there. I like that one. Right in here, there's really no good way to get out of it, so. And then I would actually bring this down around here and direct landing. Oh, I see what we're doing, okay.
Yeah, go ahead and make both of those from the airbase to that location.
I really hate that second one, but nah, I was doing some like reading one day when I was at work about how you're not really supposed to. We have to try to avoid flying over towns
Yep,
to meet
no,
unknown hostiles.
that's
But
correct.
So this one we
with
would probably do a direct departure
this
to the
area
north
being
and then
so
just
close
come
to
right
the
up here
base,
and hook right into here.
with that, I guess not conquered by us, but like uh, I guess garrisoned by us, or at least known safe because it's so close.
Well, not necessarily. Now, if you're familiar with operations in Afghanistan, Iraq, there are instances where you'll have Taliban or whatever in these towns with small arms, IEDs. But I mean, typically in that type of warfare, they don't have anything substantial that's really too much of a threat. But as a general rule, you do want to try to avoid the towns. And then one other thing, you know, we don't necessarily have to use the runway uh, for it, but since you got this here, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about the first one. So first and foremost, I like how you decided to go ahead and fly over water. Um, Water's kind of is a unique one, so it it offers you protection in the sense that your aircraft is nobody's unless they're out on a boat, nobody's going to be out there shooting at you, right? At least for small arms. Now, if there's AA somewhere, yeah, there's kind of a risk of that. It can be mitigated with lowering your altitude to try and get underneath their radar envelope. Um, but generally, um, going over waters is not too much of an issue. And then coming around, you kind of split the difference here between those two towns. Again, pretty good. Looking at where the terrain is up here, coming in from the other direction, while maybe you could have snuck in around here and could have done it. I think you got is actually the better choice. So yeah, so obviously avoid towns as much as possible, simply because there's no way, even if we have it garrisoned, there's no 100% solution to locking anything down. For the second one, starting at the airbase, again, kind of circumvent all the towns. That's awesome. You could have also, since we don't have the same turning requirements as an aircraft, so we could have even snuck it up this way. Obviously, there's a military OP here, so we do have to consider that. We don't know if that's friendly or not. For the most part, the rest of it looks pretty good. I think you'll have uh, a interesting time over here just because of the way the terrain goes. Now, I did have one question. I saw you originally were going to go down this road. What was the why'd you change that?
Uh, because I was gonna follow this, but then I ran into being sandwiched in between this town and this hill, which would probably be higher than what I'd be flying at. And then once I get over here, all of this starts getting high as well. So I would have to either adjust to that and lose power, or try to
Okay,
cut it through here, or take this road because that seems to be the same level, or around the same level, or it starts to drop once you cut off of this to over here.
okay, yeah, I can accept that. One other thing too, though, to think about is if you look at like this town here, there's like four buildings. It's really not a town at all. So, I mean, if you're trying to weigh the risk of this versus this, or even Athera off to the east, if you have to choose one of them, I would choose this one. While sometimes, your flight path, in this case, takes you down a pretty nice corridor that provides you, a little bit of protection from the east and the west. Sometimes the risk of coming a little bit closer to a town is worth it. But again, all of this is a general rule. There's no hard and fast, true and tried method that says you'll be 100% good to go, regardless of the route you take. But there are some things that you can do to reduce it. And one of those is avoid major population centers.
All right.
Other than that, I generally, these are pretty good flight paths. The only thing I would caution you is during a formation flight, what I would really be
Avoid
cautious
the
with
tight
is something
turns.
like this. That's a fairly sharp turn, within 400 or 500 meters of the LZ. So that's something that we try to avoid as much as possible. And the reason is, so as that formation flight's coming in, if there's a little bit of inexperience in there, there's the potential that you start racking and stacking those aircraft, which we don't want to do. So it takes a lot of concentration to get all of them in there, with that sharp turn there at the end. Not that it can't be done, but you just got to take and weigh the skills of the pilots that you're flying with,
Yeah,
and make sure that they're actually able to do that.
yeah, because I was looking at like all the best ways to come in. All over here is just pretty high. This stays, I guess, decently low. But then once you get up here, this right here starts to elevate up. It's not, well, it goes from 188 to 239, but it starts climbing like in small amounts during here. Uh, I I just did this because I guess that those like small elevation adjustments would be good, as well as like uh, coming in for a landing, because as you're pulling up, gain some altitude, so you could use that to your advantage with landing.
Yeah. So, one of the ways you can kind of reduce that risk, is reduce the airspeed. Obviously, it's a trade-off there. You reduce airspeed so the pilots can fly it a little better. But then on the secondary to that, you trade the speed for the ability to evade, if someone does launch an AA missile or something at you. But no, generally this is good. I like the routes that you chose. Fundamentally, I don't see anything major wrong with them, unless Mr. Edwards sees something I don't. I generally I think they're pretty good. Obviously, if this was an enemy airfield, we'd probably want to change that up. But no, generally I think these are both good flight paths.
Yeah, I agree, Chief. Looking at the flight paths and the terrain features and everything, I completely agree. I think, especially going with the runway takeoffs. is great. I think the only thing that I would personally, and this is again, WOC McDonald, this is all kind of like a personal preference type thing. But personally, if it were me, and again, like the chief said, don't be afraid to do a direct takeoff from the airbase. You could almost eliminate all of this right here if you were to do a direct takeoff from the airbase straight to the north and then just hook right up into here. But again, this is still a really solid plan. You did everything that you're supposed to do. You're avoiding the towns, following the terrains and everything. This might shorten our flight time a little bit, but then again, it's air assault, so we like to fly. So who cares?
All right. So if there's no further questions or comments, we'll go ahead and move on to the next piece here. So the next piece is formation flights. So formation flights, again, this is wishy-washy. There's no must do it this way in these situations. This is 100% up to you as the pilot. So if you kind of, if you're looking at the document, that's the best way for me to explain this to you. Ignore the distance between aircraft and flight box. We really don't follow that for a couple of reasons. One is for technical reasons. It's hard for us to maintain those distances because we're talking rotor blade, widths here.
Yeah.
So remember what I said yesterday, or correction on your day one about the 250 and 500 meter circles there on your TADs.
Yes,
That's what we're going to be looking for.
Okay.
All right. So, and all these formations, the formation that you choose depends on a couple of things. So how many turns do you have? Are they left or right turns? What's the enemy position? So you got to have consideration to where your guns are placed within the formation, i.e. the guns on the side of the bird. And additionally, the birds, for like the Chinook, you'll have like a saw gunner that sits at the back. So if you're doing, formation where there's a bird behind you, maybe that saw gunner is going to have reduced
Oh, look out, Chief. You got a snake coming
engagement
at you.
area. So for your heavy left,
Little butterfly flying around. This
with
is what I love about
formations
ArmA
such
is
as,
just the
the
little
heavy
shit.
lefts, heavy
I mean,
rights,
a little butterfly
as the
flying around
formation turns.
with
So, for example,
the
the heavy
shadow
left,
that
if it
matches
turns
it.
left,
I mean, that's just
you got to
awesome.
consider that it's now
When you consider
crossing
everything else that's going on
two
in here.
aircraft's flight path. So in the case of this, 1 and 2 will cross 3 and 4, roughly. Now, obviously, they're going to turn, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But that is a consideration to have as you go in. And each one of these has, again, their advantages and disadvantages. So the heavy and left, you got a lot of space for lateral movement for each helicopter to a certain degree. So 4 and 2 obviously have the most latitude. 1 also has quite a bit. 3 is kind of hindered by 2 and 4. So the door gunners in this one, the 3 bird left side door gunner, he can shoot pretty much in front of the aircraft and out to the side, but it's limited to the back. Obviously, you don't want to hit your other bird. 1 is kind of the same thing, but reverse or on the other side. 2 and 4, they're limited for the inner door gunners to the front of the formation. And this one requires a lot of space for landing. So typically what happens for us, we'll be in a formation and when we come upon our landing zone, we'll typically, it either becomes a hodgepodge or we'll say, or designate some LZ that we want you to land specifically. So usually you'll get that before the flight ever takes off. So usually it's like, I want you to land here. Now if they don't, they don't give you like a specified LZ for each bird, then the intent is that, you're going to land where, roughly in the same formation that you're in next to the flight lead.
Okay.
All right, so moving over to the V. So you got one lead aircraft, and then the second and third bird are on a horizontal plane that's equally spaced off of the first bird. So in the case of this one, the outer door gunners for 2 and 3 have wide open sectors of fire. Both door gunners for bird 1 can only fire to the front and a little bit off to the side. And then obviously the inner door gunners can only fire to the rear or not at all. This is a pretty decent formation for your lower flights and slow flights. Doesn't really require too much space. Give me 1 second here. And then, as it says, turns and maneuvers in the flight require a little bit more precision and maintenance of your LZ, or your correction, of your speed and altitude for these. So trail, this is kind of the one that we use most often. All the door gunners have pretty much mass fires to both the left and right side of the formation. And really the only limitation here are the extreme front and the extreme back. For those door gunners. There is one downside, and this is from a realism perspective within a game. Due to some technical issues, sometimes you'll get rubber banding, which can actually cause a couple of aircraft to collide together. So you just got to keep that in mind. If performance on the server is kind of low, that's not necessarily going to be the best option for you. Again, just kind of go through here. It's pretty simple. Doesn't really have to worry about avoiding collision to your left and your right. You just gotta, pay attention to the guy in front of you. So that's with all of these formations. The number 1 bird, he's focusing on speed and altitude and the route. Birds 2, 3, and 4 are just focusing on not hitting the guy in front of them. So again, back to the trail. A little bit of movement left and right is possible during your LZs, but it's pretty effective for what we do. And then just a note in here, you'll see something called ground track. Obviously, this is the actual track over the ground. In the case of the trail, all 4 of them are on the same one. So when we do turns in a trail, don't cut the corners on this. All right, staggered trail right and staggered trail left. I would say that this is probably a good contestant for the most used flight formation within the 506 that we use. Up there with the trail and or echelon left or right. So this one, a couple of disadvantages that are mixed between the trail formation and both the echelon lefts and echelons right. So these are good for allocation of lateral space for each aircraft. Simple takeoffs. Each one has an individual ground track. This one does require a large LZ for distance purposes and is challenging in turns. So for example, for the staggered left, typically if we aren't going to use this if we're going to make a lot of left turns, we'll do staggered trail right if we got a left turn, and then the opposite for right turns. And then obviously here with your door gunners, again, the inner door gunners are limited because of the aircrafts that are next to them. And of course, with the way we do spacing, some of these limitations are removed. Next up, echelon left and echelon right. This is probably close second, close third formation that we use. Actually, I'd probably argue this is probably number 1, actually, now that I think about it. We use the echelon left and echelon right quite a bit. Same kind of considerations with turns. If you're doing an echelon left and have to make a lot of left turns, probably just want to go ahead and use an echelon right. So there's nothing wrong with changing formations as you go through the flight. You just got to make sure it's communicated, especially if you know it beforehand. So again, lateral space for each aircraft is pretty good. Simple takeoffs, individual ground tracks require a large LZ for distancing. Turns are a challenge.
Yeah, you
And
busted me,
I've
Zemo.
talked to some about your infantry coordinating
I had
the
to
extract
go
spacing.
refill my
Is fairly
my
complicated.
beverage, so
Really, any extract that we do is complicated.
thought I was
We'll
trying to
get
be
more into
sly
that
there. I
later.
probably should have hit Mike mute.
And the last one here is the diamond formation. And again, obviously, all the guns. Sorry, give me 1 second.
It's fine.
Yeah, it gets thirsty sitting around listening to all of this planning and training and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Sorry
So.
about that.
It's fine.
All right, so the
Hey Zemo, let me ask you a question.
Obviously, the gun
How
is
does
on
my
the inside.
voice sound?
Pretty
I was
limited
having
to what they can do.
that issue on the
In
last stream
terms of
with the echoing and
engaging.
everything.
1
Do
and
you hear
4
any
probably
echo,
have
or does the
most
voice
leeway
volume sound
on
pretty good?
engaging. So these are supposed to be the most difficult. We rarely use this, by the way. The rearward pilot obviously probably has it the easiest. All he's got to worry about is not hitting the guys in front of him. Left and right index off the lead. This formation is good for little visibility.
Okay, great. Yeah, I found out on my under my
And
sources
also
on
has
my
a small
Streamlabs, I
footprint.
had
But again,
an extra
I
audio
don't think
source. So I was like
ever
running
used this
two,
during an actual
basically like
operation.
two
I think we may have
mic
used it once for
sources for the same
for
mic.
funsies.
So
So you have any questions
awesome,
about
good.
the different
Okay, I'm
types
glad
of
that was fixed up.
formations?
The only question I have about it is calling them
In terms of like call
when
sign.
you're flying. So because I don't know that I'm in the aviation and I'm going through my like I guess training to be a crew chief or aerial observer. So whenever like we're flying like a party of two, then instead of the main aircraft will still be whatever the call sign. It's funny because my unit's Phoenix, so it would be Phoenix. It's funny too. I was like, oh, that's why it's so easy for me to pick up on that because we use the same call sign as well. And but when we're talking to each aircraft, lead will be -1, second
So
will be
McDonald,
-2,
in
and then
case you
however
didn't
much.
know, is
But in terms
a
of calling it,
fucking
like so
Marine.
say if
Hell yeah.
we have a party of four.
He's a Marine. Actually,
So
crew chief.
okay, yeah, I got you. So we actually, funny enough, we
For I
attempted to
want to
implement
say.
call signs.
I don't remember if he said CH-53s
maybe
or
a year
what, but
ago,
he's training to be
and
a
it seemed
crew
like
chief
nobody
for
liked it. Everybody hated
Marine
it,
Helos.
and it just confused everybody for some reason. So within the 506, we kind of found a middle ground. So you're just whatever position in the formation you are. That's just your number. So you're either 1, 2, 3, or 4. No dash in front of it. Barring that, the only other thing you'll hear is your actual billeted call sign. So you're always going to be Phoenix 2-3. I'm always going to be Phoenix 2-1 until we switch it up. So Edwards is Phoenix 2-2.
Okay.
So sometimes you'll hear, Phoenix 2-2, or sometimes you'll just hear, like we'll say, speed 150, you'll hear 2, 3, 4 from each of the pilots. So no, you don't necessarily hear -1, -2, -3, though technically that is what, everybody does.
So when I'm flying, so if we took off in a trail, and then I'll say Phoenix 2-3, echelon right, and then they'll move into that, and then just call it out once they're set.
Yeah,
That's
so
what I'm trying to figure out is how the transmission would go for them to know to move.
Yeah, so it's very, very informal on 7.1.1. Usually it's just going to be, all right, guys, let's move to this formation. We don't necessarily add in all the other stuff, and some of that is partially just to reduce some of the traffic on the net.
Okay.
But usually it's just here's what we're doing, and an acknowledgement between the remaining birds. But if it's like if it's a lengthy, like, hey, say like bird 2 is trying to tell bird 1 about some kind of AA or something, then you might hear the call sign. But there's no hard and fast rule about using call signs or numbers.
All right.
But yeah, if it's supposed to be like one person specifically, so like if I'm trying to talk to Edward specifically, I was like Phoenix 2-2, this is 2-1, and then I'll say whatever.
All right.
But unless it's like if it's the whole formation, then it'll just be like Phoenix Flight. All right. So those are all the formations that we use, and then a little bit more. The next part is all about night flying. So the night flying stuff, in terms of procedural, there's a couple of things that we require. Obviously, when you're near the airbase, you need to have your collision lights on. I'm fighting the spotlight thing because in the game, when you turn your spotlight on, you kind of get like a whiteout that saturates everything with light. So if there's a lot of dust and stuff, it can get pretty distracting. So in terms of those, situational awareness, either turn that on or turn it back off, depending on what the conditions are like. So obviously have your lights on, and then once you sign off 7.5 or you clear the active runway, when you're leaving, you can go ahead and turn those lights off. But just make sure you do turn them off. There's nothing more embarrassing than seeing a combat aircraft with its collision lights on a cast run. Pre-flight and flight procedures, again, pretty much the same thing here. Just, the important part is, it talks about a CFIT, controlled flight into terrain. It's a lack of situational awareness. Sometimes you'll hear it as crew resource management in your world, where they talk about, ensuring that the crew is focused on the job that they're supposed to be focused on and not all this other distracting stuff. So that you get pilot fatigue, pilots get overwhelmed, whatever the case may be. They focus in on the problem so hard and so much that they forget to fly the aircraft, and then they end up crashing for one reason or another. And yes, believe it or not, it has happened in real life, and it's happened in the game. People will open their map, they'll be looking at it, trying to figure out what their route is, and boom, they crash into a tree or whatever. So just it's really kind of for day and night, but just understand that at night it's a little bit more stressful. So a couple things, that we talked to you about, tried to get you to understand, increase the altitude, decrease speed, increase distance between aircraft, increase your approach altitude for steeper landers, and then obviously when you take off,
Chief Blair is the very
higher,
first
get
Chief
more
Warrant Officer
altitude before
5
you
in the
really start to
506,
move.
so he
Again,
definitely
kind of
is well deserved.
usage there.
He
So
easily
here
could have been our
specifically
company
says 3
commander,
kilometers from
but
the airbase to turn your lights on.
I believe that he
And it
turned
talks
it
about collision
down.
lights and landing lights.
He's happy
For
doing what
purposes
he's
of
doing.
understanding it, that's the right
He's
answer.
a
Just let it
phenomenal
wait
freaking.
around until you turn that shit off.
He's a phenomenal aviator
collision
and
lights actually
everything.
goes
Yeah,
on
so yeah,
when
he
you're
is
in
the
the
very
airbase.
first Chief Warrant Officer
And then
5
obviously
in
everything's
506.
communicated over 7.5. The last thing here, and this is a challenge for most veteran of pilots. If you really want to practice your flight planning, your flying skills, and maintaining both speed and altitude, fly at night with no nods. All right. Any questions about night flying?
No, just pretty much be aware or stay alert.
Right. Yep. Stay aware. Give yourself an extra risk envelope there for any errors if they do happen, and then lights. That's the big thing with night.
Flying at night in real life sucks.
Yeah. So I mean, the big difference, obviously, you guys have nods.
Yeah.
It helps. Doesn't necessarily, eliminate all the hazards. There's still some things that you can't see with nods. Power lines are obviously a big factor, but there's ways to, power poles are a little bit easier to see than the lines, as an example. So, and you've probably heard this, fly over the power pole. Okay. So now moving on into flight modes. 4 different flight modes: high, low, contour, nap of the earth. So high is well above the terrain, ranging from 300 to 600 meters. Obstacles, generally no threat during this type of flight mode, not demanding on the pilot really whatsoever, other than maintaining speed and the high altitude. Great visibility, reduced risk from small arms, increased risk from anti-air, and your approaches are a little bit longer, and your communications will have to get a little better so that you can actually do a landing at the LZ effectively. So typically the way we'll do it
So
is
we're
we'll
almost
fly
done with the
during typically we don't
talking
get
shit.
really much above 200
Once we
meters
finish talking about flight
during our
modes,
flight.
then
So
we're going to go
usually we
into
fly,
exercise 2,
roughly low
where
to
we're going
contour,
to
depending on what
actually,
we're doing.
Chief will designate one of these flight
So
paths
low
that he
flight
chose,
mode,
and then we'll go ahead and fly that in formation flight.
above terrain, but usually in reach of ground personnel spotting. It's most commonly used for cruising. Altitude varies between 100 and 150. It's compromised between accepted visibility and protection from small arms. It's a overt method which will alert both the enemy ground forces and attract anti-air. So you have an increased risk from both types of threats. Contour, and really the difference between contour and earth is contour is over the trees, nap of the earth is between the trees. But just so we cover all the bases here, contour is where the pilot flows low but directly over the tallest elevation point of terrain, such as trees, poles, hills, or buildings. Offers potential cover and concealment from anti-air, but increases the risk from small arms fire as well as likelihood of collision. Nap of the earth, we really hardly ever do this here, and if we do it, it's not at speed. With increased speed, you lose maneuverability, and that's not something you want to do when you have trees whizzing by your door. Nap of the earth, it constantly adjusts to fly as low as possible, adjusting between different terrain features or hazards. The most demanding flight mode of all, especially during formation flights. Provides cover at the expense of speed, as I talked about, and a skilled pilot makes the difference between impacting or dodging an obstacle. Should be avoided in official operations due to the high risk of pilot error. This risk mitigates both anti-air and small arms when flying at high rates of speed. Any questions about flight modes?
No.
All right, perfect. So next we're going to move into exercise 2. And the way this is going to work is I will fly one, and then you will fly back. And then we'll transition into the second part for the night. We'll fly the other one, and then you'll fly back. So just kind of quickly go through what the exercise here is. So we're going to choose the dam one first for the day, because I am a glutton for punishment. So I'll lead it
So
out
we're going to
there.
do the easy one for the day one, and then the
I
night
have a
one we're
pilot
going
to
to do the hard
assist, so
one.
that'd be great. So we can choose different formations that we wouldn't normally use. I chose the LZ, so I guess that's not really a judgment from you. In other words, really what I'm looking for is your ability to flight lead, and inform us of everything you need to do. So you'll get the example, and then you'll have to do it.
Okay.
All right. So let's go ahead and birds. I'll pick the first one there, and then McDonald, you'll be bird 2. Edwards, you'll be bird 3. What we're going to do, we're going to follow the flight path. Once we come off the runway here and sign off of 7.5, we're going to make that roughly, we're going to start at 150 kph off the end of the runway. Altitude will be my discretion. Once we get in towards the LZ, I will go ahead and give those calls. I want you to go ahead and maintain the formation that we're in. I'll go ahead and pick an LZ, or once we get out there, if I see that won't work, I will go ahead and make the adjustment. let's see. There's something I'm forgetting. Yes. The formation. We're going to start off. You know what? Let's change things up. Let's go ahead and fly the V. So one on the left, one on the right. So 2, you'll be on the left. 3, you'll be on the right. And that's all I got. Edwards, your comment.
Just in regards to radios, I set up the radios, Chief. However, I didn't take into account the alternate frequencies because I know everyone likes that different, except for the second bird. I set it up to the way that I liked it. So, McDonald, you may have to change the alternate frequency and stuff to however you like it.
Okay. If you guys want to switch between... Actually,
I can actually, Chief, if you don't mind, I mean, if you want him to fly 2, I can take the second bird since I already set it up to mine, and he can just take the third bird and then fly over and take the 2 spot. That'd be fine.
Yep, that'll work. All right, let's get to it. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention there, McDonald. From formation flights, only the lead does the airbase comms. So you'll need a monitor 7.5, but not actually communicate on 7.5.
Yep, I remember.
All right. Phoenix Flight, this is Phoenix 2-1, radio check on 7.1.1, over.
2, have you loud and clear on 7.1.1, over.
Just 2-2, I believe you're going to be bird 3. 2-3, you're going to be bird 2.
Affirm. 3 has you loud and clear.
2-3, radio check, frequency 7.1.1.
2-3, this is 2 Lima Charlie, frequency 71.1.
Affirm, got the entire formation flight, loud and clear. Go ahead and spool.
2 spool. 3 spool.
2 spool.
It's going to take a second for me to get used to that. Pretty good spool.
2 good spool.
Lifting.
Alright, gentlemen, we're going to hold short Sierra 7 for running clearance.
3.
Javier Base, this is Speakers Flight 10407, we're active runway 22 right. Taking active.
Hey Mike, how's it going, buddy? Yeah, we're doing flight school for WOC McDonald.
Alright, gentlemen, I'm going to pull center line. If you guys want to pull to left and right of that, so we can go ahead and get this formation. So again, 2 on the left, 3 on the right.
3.
2.
1 set.
Reset.
Additional speed 150 coming up the end of the runway. One's at 150.
2 150.
Reset.
Catch-up speed is 160.
3.
Alright, slight left. Maintain 150.
3.
2.
And I'm lagging
I
behind.
picked up a little speed there, I'm dropping it back down to 150. Alright, McDonald, so this is the easy part. It's nice and straight. Once it makes all these turns, speed adjustments, that's when it gets a little crazy. Alright, so slight right. Correction, straight. Alright, go ahead and pick speed up to 200.
2.
3.
12 degrees, nose down. One set, 200.
Reset 200.
2 set 3. 200.
A little far out there.
Start making the right turn. Maintain 200. It's about a 45-degree roll here, boys.
Ooh, way off target.
Continue that right roll.
Pull up. Pull up.
3, I'm going to need you to get back in formation here.
Hey, firm.
Alright, go ahead and reduce speed down to 150. 10 degrees, nose up. Correction, 5 degrees, nose up. One set, 150. Reduce in altitude.
2 set 150 alpha.
Reset.
I'm going to try and land almost right in the center of that dam. And then if I guys to land on the left and the right. So maintain formation. Be advised there is one telephone pole there right at the end here. So just watch out for that. I'll be flying right over it. What's on deck?
Freeze on the deck.
That give you enough space over there?
Yeah, I got scared.
Okay. Alright, 2-3, so that's a quick short formation flight. I did make a few errors, but nothing too egregious. One thing to note, if you do make an error, you know, just quick correction, change it up, whatever it is you need to say. You know, and just continually communicate with us, make sure that, you know, we know what's going on. You know, if there's obstacles, changes in the formation, changes in altitude, changes in speed, all those things need to be communicated. If you're turning left, turning right, I'd like to add in the additional bit about the degrees. So if I say like 10 degrees nose down or 10 degrees nose up, it just gives everybody a better indication of how fast I'm speeding up or slowing down. So from
Zemo, I don't have any more moderators.
Self-evaluation perspective,
so
the one thing I would have changed with that
one thing that I
is
need
a
to
little
start
bit for
working
the LC there
on, still
on the
kind of
speed.
new to the
You know, I
whole
said
mod,
150,
chat
but I
thing
didn't
and all that
really
stuff, so I'm
bump it
definitely
back
gonna,
down to the
definitely gonna set
100
some
or even
that
the
up.
50 as I came in on the LC. So one of the things that you can say is you can say on glide path, you know, slowing down to LC, you know, something that communicates that you're focused in on your landing. So what typically happens is since there's only, you know, one person in each of these birds, you know, you have to fly the aircraft, you have to communicate with the formation. So sometimes some of that stuff gets lost in the you know, spur of trying to get everything else accomplished. So again, remember, aviate, navigate, communicate. But do try to keep us informed the best you can. I think in that case, I think both of you guys did really well on adjusting to my lack of communication there as we were coming in the LZ, particularly on this speed. So with that being said, Edwards, or correction, Phoenix 2-2, do you have anything?
Negative from 2-2.
Alright, 2-3, do you got any questions or comments?
Nothing for you or 2-2, it's just myself. I just need to work on some things. But other than that, it's all good.
Alright, perfect. So you're now going to be number 1. I'll transition to number 2, leaving Edwards still 3. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and take us back along the same flight path.
Alright, and do you want me to call on 7.5 on this net or on actual?
Yeah, Zemo,
do it
I
on
wouldn't have a
actual
problem with that at
7.5.
all. Once I figure out how to set it up,
Copy.
I would definitely do that.
Just give me
So
one
I know
second.
you've been on my channel, on my stream quite a bit. So I would absolutely have no problem with that whatsoever.
So hey, real
Let me
quick,
figure out how to do it.
on you know, before you do a formation flight, typically there's the quick brief that you do. Kind of talk about the flight path, you talk about the speed, the altitude, formation, and any other information that you think is pertinent.
Yeah, I could have landed in there. Damn it. I got scared. I saw the trees.
Alright. So, pretty much we're just gonna lift from here, and we're just gonna, I don't know how to, I don't want to say like about face, but we're gonna be facing the south, and we're just gonna head back along the flight plan. We're gonna stay in the V formation, and I'll just call our altitudes and speeds.
once you two are clear. Relifting.
Start lifting speed 150. 2.
3.
Turning left to get back on flight plan. At 150. 139 AJ.
Threes catch up at 160.
Copy, I'm pulling. I'm holding steady at 153.
200's a little too much there.
We're going to be starting our left-hand roll to... District correction, we're just starting left-handed roll.
3.
2.
So one of my biggest weaknesses is formation flying because we don't do it enough. As you can see, I'm kind of not really tight in the formation. Chief Blair is obviously a lot better at it than I am.
Sorry, it's dropping speed there a little, picking back up to 155. 2.
3. So, you know, I get a little nervous when we got to fly in there pretty close, just because I'm just not used to it. So it's one of the things I need to work on. But it's hard to work on it when you don't do it enough. Again, like you guys were talking about, in this operation, we really haven't done a lot of air assault.
Slight left roll. 2.
3. So it's not something that really you get a lot of good practice at. Also in the Blackhawk, as you can see in the right formation, it makes it kind of hard because you can't really see what's going on to the left of you. You're sitting over here, obviously. That's why if I'm lead or if I'm flying in a formation, I like doing the left echelon, and that way everyone is kind of stacked out that windshield there, and makes it a lot easier.
Start dropping here, and we're gonna do a slight right to get lined up on 04 right. 2.
3. Right.
Alright, I'm coming in at 7 onto Mike 3. Nope. Alright, I'm slowing down to make the turn.
Passing tier 8.
2's clear, active. Alright, I'm slowing. I'm at
3's clear, active.
Alright, just gonna turn into your spots, and then once we're all on deck, I'll call us all, and then sign off. On the deck.
I fucking hate it when my ass does that. Three on the deck.
Alright.
Yeah, it definitely does get in the way in third person there. The only reason that I chose it is because of right here. I found that in the cockpit of the UH-60, it's at a perfect placement. If I had it up above, I was having a lot of hard time with actually like being able to see my altitude and everything, because I was always constantly looking up and not at the horizon. So I tried to place it to where it would be at the horizon. I wish that there was a way that you could actually change it, and you know, when you pop out into third person, it would like disappear, or you know, you could actually move it. Oh, okay, yeah. See, that's a good spot too.
Alright, good deck.
Just want to hit my head against my desk. That was probably the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done.
And Edwards wins the award for best landing on the LZ. Good job.
I think that's the only award that I won there, Chief. My I wasn't tight at all in my formation.
All right, McDonald. Pretty good job, actually. Overall, I was able to follow your path. You maintained speed and altitude pretty well for a formation flight.
Yeah, we do. We
I
do
know there was a little
definitely
bit
need
there
more
that you got and,
more Blackhawk shit.
briefed us on, which was awesome.
Again, it's just this
The
deployment
only
map
criticism
kind of sucks
that I think I have
because everything's kind of so close.
is, at the very start,
Our FTX, I don't know,
they
Mike,
took
if you were
off,
around for that.
on us
A
before me and
lot of
Edwards could really
freaking,
get, established in the
a lot of
formation.
Blackhawk
Took a little
formation
bit extra
flights and
effort,
stuff
a little
like
bit extra
that.
speed
So
to go ahead and
hopefully,
get that
when we
all
get
caught
done,
up,
we get
but
back to that.
other than that,
I've never actually used advanced
pretty
flight
damn good.
model. I heard it's
Edwards,
pretty
you got
freaking
anything?
tough. Negative. It was actually really good call outs. Really good maintaining speed and everything. I thought that was a really good return flight.
All right, give me 1 second here.
I noticed when we were making that that final left, I saw you coming up on
Yeah,
me
Zemo, I don't have my
on the
uptime
radar, and then
command
I
set
actually
yet.
looked to see
If you
how
hit
close you were, and I was like,
commands,
okay, either he's picking up,
I'm still just
or
starting
I'm
to get
slowing down, and then
into
sure enough, I
setting up
was
my
slowing
command.
down.
So I think I have a command
Yeah, I
stats,
typically
and I
fly
have
pretty close to people anyway, so
multi-twitch,
I know some folks that can get
and
pretty nerve wracking.
something like that. But yeah,
For me, like the one thing
still
you'll
working on
notice
that.
as you start, doing more formation flights, the closer you fly to people, the more attention it requires. So you'll find that you'll be putting, inputs in much more frequently to change your speed and altitude, all trying to maintain, that tight formation. So as your formations get tighter, it'll get, more intense to try and, maintain.
Okay.
All right, stand by for changing time.
13 hours later.
You like that?
Yeah.
All right. As you have guessed, we're moving into the night piece here. We're going to go ahead and fly the, well, let me turn on my flashlight here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and fly the night route here. We can go ahead and delete the old one now that we're done with it. So since we still have 3 pilots, what we're going to do, we're going to probably do 150 kph for this initial push off the end of the runway. Once we come around Niachori, we probably pick it up for a little bit, and then as we come into that left turn, we'll probably slow back down to 150, and then it'll probably be at that speed for the rest of the flight. We'll still maintain the V formation. Actually, correct. We'll do a trail formation this time. Just maintain that spacing piece, and then as we come into the LZ, obviously I don't think we're all going to fit there. So I will try to do center mass on that LZ. If I can get 2 to land to the slight south east there, and then I'll look for 3 to land somewhere up over here. So
Great.
two kind of over here, 3 kind of over here. So if you go ahead and open up your C tab, and I'll go ahead and mark the spots for everybody. So this will be where I land, 2358 right there in the middle. I want 3 to land at that one, and then actually probably gonna have to adjust that a little bit. A second. I will land at this one here. So 2358 will be me. 2 will be on the furthest east one, and then 3 will be on the furthest north one. So it'll probably be a little tight. So as we come in, obviously we'll be losing a little bit of speed as we come up the hill there. So just kind of keep that in mind. Looks like there may be a few trees surrounding that LZ. So we might have to come up a little bit to clear those and then back down. Any questions?
None for me.
And McDonald, do you see your LZ as well?
Yes, the furthest east, 2358.
Perfect. All right, and of course, if none of those LZs work, we'll switch it up, and then as we come in, it's going to be pilot's discretion on the exact landing of their bird. All right, if there's no questions, let's mount up. All stations, this net, count off in order.
2 copy.
3, copy.
Awesome. Copy, Airbase. This is Phoenix flight of 3 times UA60 Mike signing on frequency 75. Show spill in a helo parking, Mike 3. Go ahead, spool.
3.
Lights on. One's a good spool.
Two good.
3 good spool.
One's lifting.
Two's lifting.
Three lifting. Took my hand off of the
One
joystick
taking
there
active.
for a second.
Two taking active.
Three taking active.
One is set.
Two set.
Reset.
Two full.
Three.
One set.
Two set.
Reset. I hate trail formation in this game because the second someone rubber bands,
We'll start our left turn here.
Two.
3.
Still 150.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So trail formation is just like a file. The bad part is, obviously, in this game, you know how the frame rates and everything can drop. It could be, I mean, I could be sitting back here all chill and everything, and then the next thing I know, I'm like in front of 2.
Lights out.
3. So yeah, normally we don't, I mean, Chief said that we usually fly in trail formation. Normally we don't, I mean, we
Gonna start
maybe
taking a right here.
we do fly in
100
trail
meters.
formation, but for the most part we'll do like an
And
echelon
begin
or
roll.
some kind of modified trail formation. That way if you do rubber
It's about a
band,
45-degree bank.
that way if you do rubber band, you know, you're not slamming into the bird in front of you. Like, and then you have this.
And reduce down to about 20. Maintain 150.
3.
2.
continue through on this turn.
So as you see, I'm not exactly right behind 2. Especially, you know, he's kind of about to pass him. So speed dropped a little bit. So this is why I do not like trail formation. But
Alright, let's go ahead and bump speed up to 200. 10 degrees, nose down.
2.
3.
Catch-up speed will be 220.
See, I got a
1 set. So a slight right.
2.
3 set. Yeah, it's kind of difficult there.
And just slide left.
So basically what I try to do is I just try to stay in formation, and even if he's calling out speed at 200, you know, I mean, yeah, it would be great in an ideal world where we're all at 200 and we're flying along perfectly. I just try not to crash in front of the dude in front of me, so.
Go ahead and keep 200 into this turn, and then reduce it down once we get over to the airfield.
3.
Begin slight left. And level out. Another slight left. And leveling out. Alright, once we pass over this ridge, we'll go ahead and drop it down in altitude.
3.
We're going to extend the left turn here, just so we can come around this spur, and then we'll make our left.
3.
Alright, turning left in. And reduce the speed down to 150.
And it's gonna get really interesting here.
Oop, correction here, turn in right just a little bit. One is set.
2s.
Contour flight from here on out.
3 set contour flight.
Power line's on top of this ridge, so you have to pick it up a little bit.
3.
And once you're over the power lines, you can go ahead and drop it back down into the valley. Go ahead and reduce speed down to 120.
set.
Just follow this valley all the way in, boys. One click out.
3 copy, 1 click.
Pull up. Pull up.
Once you make this little left around this last spur here, go ahead and get your glide path and then land at your own discretion. It's going to be a sharp left here at the end and a climb.
Pull up. Pull up.
2 copies.
3.
One's slowing down quickly. There are some trees here, so just be mindful of them, and some rock walls as well.
2 slow.
One's on the deck.
Pull up. Pull up.
2 had to shift right and head LZ, but tough.
Three's on the deck. Aha! 7 meters. Yeah, bitches. That's a good formation.
Not bad flight. The end was a little bit tricky with the turn and the climb there, but overall wasn't too bad. 2-2, you got anything?
Negative, Chief. Just to reiterate, not a bad flight, especially given all the altitude adjustments and turns and everything. Landing was pretty good.
2-2, you got any questions? Or, sorry, correction, 2-3, you got questions? Any questions?
No questions, just self-adjustment.
Alright, whenever you're ready, go ahead and take us back to the base.
Alright, again, we're gonna lift from here. We're gonna face the east. I'm just gonna pull out a little bit and set myself just so you guys can get in line with me. And then we're gonna follow it back. Keep it at 120 through this valley, and then we'll pick up speed after that.
You got this.
3.
Alright. 2's lifting. 1's lifting. So
2's lifting.
One setting. Set.
3 lifting. Almost.
2 set.
1's gonna be going in just a slow roll, 24 kph.
3 set.
Alright, full power 120.
Yep.
3.
Alright, just gonna drop it and follow contour through this valve.
Speed check.
We're gonna pick it up to 150.
Breeze catch up 160, 170. Lagging behind a little bit now.
Alright, we're gonna get ready to start making this right roll in 1 mic.
2.
3.
And right roll.
2.
3.
We're gonna follow along the right, but we're just gonna cut it a bit just so we can cut off some of this time.
2.
3. Speed dip down way.
Alright, continuing in the roll, we're gonna push it a little more right, just to line up with this. And straighten out, and then we'll push to 200.
2.
3.
Alright. One is set 200.
2 set.
3 set.
Alright, we're gonna start slowing it down here, and we're gonna start making a right, left roll, correction. Slow it down to 150. Slight right, sorry.
3.
Slight left.
We slowed down real quick.
Alright, left roll.
2.
3.
tighten up the left roll and keep going. 2.
3.
Alright, we're gonna start dropping it. Altitude 100, correction, 110, speed 120. 2.
3.
And just start bringing it down now, and glide your way in. 2.
3.
Pull up. Pull up.
Alright, I'm over runway 85, kVA. 2.
3's overactive.
I apologize. 2.
No worries.
Alright, gonna start slowing it down here, coming up to the end of the runway, about to go on Sierra 8, cross Sierra 7 onto Mike 3. 2.
3.
Two's clear active.
Three's clear active.
Alright, again, just line up on your spots, touch, now. 2.
3.
One's on deck.
Two's on deck.
Oh my god. Had a seizure there or something. Three's on the deck. Wow, that was fucked up.
Alright, good to swell. 2.
3.
Clear deck.
myself up
Why?
because I forgot to call or to give you guys a signal to turn the lights on. So stupid.
Give me 1 second.
Ha. I'm not getting blinded.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh my God.
All right, so
You
overall that wasn't bad. You know, I mean, he did really well with his
All
leads.
right. So, not as good as the daytime one, but still pretty good for a walk. The big critiques I have were the speed. Altitude wasn't too bad, and communication. Um, so I think there was some lulls there in some turns. I'm not sure. I think you may have gotten distracted by a butterfly or something. Um, but yeah, just make sure you're communicating. Everything that's going on. If something's got you, flustered, it's okay to say, let the flight know that, hey, I'm going to be doing X. Hey, I'm going to be in the map looking at alternate LZs for time being, because we all know that if you're in the map or something that you can't control the aircraft. So um, we understand that in those situations, you might slow down a little bit or whatever, but and that's fine as long as you communicate it. And then
Yeah.
obviously you kind of already hit on the lights piece. Um, Not a real big deal. Just make sure that you get in the practice of turning that down when you come into the airbase. So the best way to do that is you hit 7.5, you sign on. Go ahead and just hit those lights as well.
Yeah, that's. I was worrying too much about signing on and calling on it instead of letting you guys know as well that we were we needed to have them on for approach.
Yeah,
And then
I
with
mean, sorry.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, and then with we were on the runway, I saw you coming up to me, and no, I actually heard it, and then I got a little disoriented because
All right, so after this,
I couldn't tell which
is going to
angle
be
I
auto
was at,
rotation and
so I
anti-torque
didn't realize
failure.
that I was losing speed.
So
And then I
we'll
normally,
see
I
how that
wish I should
goes.
start practicing to start flying in cockpit instead of out. But I'm normally more proficient with out of cockpit. But I'm gonna start trying to do it in just so I could keep an eye on my angles.
Yeah, I mean, nighttime flying, it is very easy to lose speed, lose altitude or whatever without you noticing it. So I mean, obviously we lack the real time, feedback that you'll get actually being in an aircraft in relation to, the G forces that are applied upon your body, when you speed up, slow down, and whatnot. Um, just with practice and stuff, you'll be able to, you know, get all that stuff down, and keep in mind that we all at some point, even me, even today at some points, I some days we just have issues with keeping speed or whatever the case may be. So it's okay. You just gotta recognize that happened, and then correct it. So just like on the airfield, you're not entirely without fault there. Like I know you called 85, but I was actually going pretty fast myself. So it's kind of a fault on multiple fronts. But yeah, it does happen. And kind of like what I said earlier, the closer you get to somebody, the harder it is to maintain separation of aircraft. So nothing to worry about too bad. Overall, I think you did pretty good still. Um, the only other critique that I have was with the first flight mode. You called contour, but I think you're more of a
Yeah,
low.
I started picking it up because I was putting myself, I was pushing a collective down and I guess I wasn't seeing myself like drop how I wanted, and I think I just left it there and didn't call it.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Yeah, overall, I think it was still pretty good. Edwards, you got anything?
Chief, just to reiterate what you said, uh, um, comms. I thought he would, he did a fairly good job calling out, directions and stuff like that. Obviously, like you said, speed changes or something. I don't know if it was me. I didn't hear any air-based communications as we were coming back in. I didn't hear the flight sign on the 7.5 or anything like that. So I'm not sure if you actually did that or if if you just forgot. But
No, I heard it.
Yeah, so I did it. I did it when we were, instead of like coming straight at it from the southwest. I did it before we made that loop around. So we were to the east of the airbase, and I started it because we were still 2 clicks out, and then throughout that whole thing we maintained it. So I just called it just so, like, if there were other aircraft, know that we're making that turn in. But I called it before we were lined up.
okay, Roger that. Yeah, and that might just be my issue as far as with my new radio setup. I'm not used to it, so I didn't hear it. So that's the only reason that I brought it up. And again, that's probably my issue with my new radio setup. I'm still trying to get used to my new channels and everything. But I thought that just to reiterate, like what you said, with the initial takeoff, we were pretty low in the valley, but you were still kind of up high. Again, that just comes with practice. But really, I felt that you followed the flight plan really well. And you got to remember with night flying, it's you have to almost like amplify everything. So it's exponentially tougher than flying in the daytime. So don't be too hard on yourself. I mean, everyone makes mistakes and everything. And this is the place to do it at. So I thought you did a good job.
Thank you.
All right. So the next piece of the document here is all about emergency procedures. I think we talked about these pretty in depth on your day one, so I'm not gonna reiterate all that. But just as a quick recap, I guess. Remember, during both of the emergency procedures for the main rotor failure and anti-torque, the goal is to preserve the RPM of that blade. So as soon as you notice a failure, collective all the way down, find your LZ that you want to land at, and then you start guiding the aircraft towards it. As you get close to the ground, your RPM on the rotor blades should have been maintained. And then as you come in, slowly rise that collective and trade that RPM for lift. So once that RPM is gone, obviously it's you don't have any more. And if you haven't landed by that point, then you're probably going to crash. So the goal going into these two procedures, we're going to give you a demonstration of them, of both of them. I'm going to give you the easy way. Not that I necessarily want you to do it that way, but just so that you can kind of get the point. And then we'll show you the anti-torque failure and the process you got to go to recover from that as well. So with that being said, if there's no more questions or comments on emergency procedures and what they are, we're going to go ahead and just roll into exercise 3. So we'll go ahead and hop into my bird. I'll take the co-pilot seat. McDonald, take the pilot seat. Edwards, whatever seat is remaining, you are welcome to take. And then we'll fly on over there to the salt flats, and I'll demo both of those procedures for you, and then we'll have you go ahead and perform those.
Okay.
All right. All right, I got the controls.
Controls are yours.
Edwards in. Now this is when I did mine, we did it on the Apache. So the Apache, generally speaking, is a little easier to. It's a little more forgiving. So apparently he's going to have him.
All right, here we go.
Do his auto rotation and everything in the Blackhawk. So this should be. Blackhawk is really easy to do also. So you know it shouldn't be too bad. He should be all right. I am actually going to move to a bench seat because I know that I may want to shoot something.
Man, it's so weird flying on this side of the bird.
It's definitely not natural.
No. Alright, so you're gonna have to forgive me a little bit. I gotta get a little bit of extra altitude because I gotta jump into Zeus to pull off this demo. Unless, Edwards, do you know how to do it?
Affirm.
Alright, do you have Zeus?
I do not.
Alright, give me a second. Let me see if I can give it to you. I'm gonna release controls back to McDonald. Releasing now. Controls are yours. You know what? Actually, I'm not gonna be able to do it with you in the bird.
If you want to drop me off or something, that'd be fine.
Yeah, take control back.
Controls are yours.
Edwards, just hop out real quick. I'll give it to you, and then you can hop back in.
Copy. Something's up with my radios because I'm not picking up anything on my short range.
I wasn't transmitting. Can you just get out real quick?
That's probably why I wasn't picking up anything.
You have it.
Come on. Affirm, I have it. We're good.
Perfect. Alright, stand by for a second. Alright.
Chief, do you need me to make this an editable object?
No, you shouldn't. You just have to add it to your interface. Did you get it? Just select all items in the mission. Did you get it?
Not yet. I'm still
Alright, so you're in. Go to modules, all the way to the bottom to Zeus. I believe it's called. The very last bottom, or last one, and it's going to be add or remove objects. And then just put that down anywhere, and then click add, and then click all objects in the mission.
Add all objects in the mission. Okay, I got it now.
Alright, so then once you click on the bird, you're going to go to, there's going to be a little window that says damage, and then you're going to damage the H rotor.
Okay, roger that. Ready. Ready when you are.
Give me about 30 seconds here. Let me get some speed.
Dive, dive, dive.
Yeah. Alright, I'm good whenever you are.
Copy.
Hydraulics failure.
Right, so collective is now down. So I'm going to find an
Hydraulics
LZ.
failure.
Salt flat. Perfect LZ for me.
Hydraulics
We're
failure.
just going to glide it in.
Hydraulics failure.
Alright, so if you listen to the rotor blade, you'll start to hear
Hydraulics
that's
failure.
That's us increasing our RPM. And you should be able to see
Hydraulics
the dials
failure.
as well.
Hydraulics failure.
See, we got about 7,000 on our
Hydraulics failure.
Yep.
So we want to try to
Hydraulics
maximize that
failure.
as we can.
Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure. Pull up. Hydraulics failure.
That was a little rougher than it should have been.
Hydraulics failure.
Alright, well,
Engine
that's how you
failure.
do an auto rotation. Edwards, if you could do a repair.
Warning,
refuel us,
fuel
and
pressure
fix
critical.
that rotor.
Confirm.
Hydraulics failure. Engine failure. Warning, fuel pressure critical.
You hit the
Caution, fuel low.
H rotor, right?
Affirm.
Yeah, for some reason that didn't feel quite right. We do need a full repair though.
Okay, full repair. That is. Let me find it here.
Nope, should be good to go. If you go into damage, there shouldn't be anything marked.
Yep, I think I got y'all fixed up.
Alright, so I want to do that again, but as opposed to doing H rotor, because for whatever reason I didn't have the input that I needed, so this time just remove the fuel.
Okay, copy.
Yeah, I don't know why, but something didn't feel right. Can you also give us a heal?
Affirm.
Should be under ACE Medical, I believe.
Okay, did that work?
Nope. Try just there it goes.
So I'm not very good at Zeusing, as you all can tell.
Yeah, when I applied collective, nothing happened. It was really weird. So I wanna make sure that you got the right opportunity here to make it work. And actually get the.
You know what, Chief? I did HITH rotor.
Oh yeah, no, it should have been just H rotor, like Hotel Romeo Oscar Tango Oscar Romeo.
Yeah, I'm looking through it right now. So that's what I did was I screwed up on that. I'm looking through here and I'm trying to find H rotor.
It should be right next to V rotor.
Yeah, I don't have a V rotor either. I have HIT and then like hull, HIT engine 1, engine 2, engine HIT V rotor, HIT okay, HIT H rotor.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
All
I'll do a fuel just to be on the safe side for this one.
Alrighty. Actually, just do the H rotor. I want to make sure it's working now. It should be fine. So
Okay.
whenever.
Okay, here we go.
Hydraulics failure.
Broken, no collective.
Hydraulics failure.
SV, start picking your glide path.
Hydraulics failure.
What's up, Ghost? How you doing, buddy?
Hydraulics failure.
Who are you talking to?
Hydraulics failure.
Yeah,
Hey,
I hit the
you're,
button when
you're
I
on.
shouldn't have.
Hydraulics failure.
Anyway.
Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure.
So yeah, I'm Zeusing. I've never Zeused before, so I'm getting a crash
Hydraulics
course
failure.
Zeusing while Chief is trying to instruct me.
Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure.
Alright, so we're gonna just do a
Hydraulics failure.
drop from the sky here. See what we get.
Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure.
Hey Edwards, go ahead and undo it. Whatever that
Hydraulics
is.
failure.
Make it quick.
Hydraulics failure.
No collective.
So it would have to. Would it be engine then?
Nah, it should be the rotor. I don't know why that's not working right. I decided to go ahead and hit it early just to see. Nothing happened.
Okay.
It might be. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just double checking my damage. Everything that I have under damage has hit in front of it, and then the H rotor and all that. So I did the hit H rotor, and yeah, that was what I did. So do you want me to do the fuel?
No, there should be one that's just H rotor, not hit, just H rotor.
Hit hull,
Alright,
hit
so
engine.
we'll just do the fuel this time so we can get through this, and then I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
Okay, copy. Let me know when you're ready.
Stand by.
Fuel critical.
Whenever.
Warning. Fuel
Alright,
pressure
so
critical.
our rotor's gone. Alright, we got a serious problem here. That's not right at all.
I gave you back fuel.
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Warning. Critical damage.
Shit.
Oh, what the fuck?
Alright, is everybody good? Oh, did I grab somebody else? My bad. Sorry, Lee, where were you at? Oh, he's not on the right channel.
He's like, where am I? Yeah, sorry, Chief. I don't know, man. I did the fuel. Yeah, and you can see on my helmet cam. If you want to take a look at it, I'll take a screenshot or something. What my options were.
Wait a second. Let me put Lee back. I don't know where he was, but I'm assuming he was over here.
Yeah, this is what happens when you have a noob, freaking Zeus, and I may need to take a little practice at Zeus in here.
All right, let's see here. Yeah, no, that was definitely weird because I didn't have any of the inputs, which is really messed up. All right, so you double click on the bird, and then, oh, you know what? I think I know what happened. Let me see here. So you double click on it to open up the edit bird, then you go to damage, and then let's see. You start off with hit hole, right?
Yeah, I don't have the bird. I have the three of us, but I don't have the bird in my window now.
Yeah, you'll have to add it.
Okay, let me do that.
You know what? I think I told you wrong. I think it is hit H rotor. For whatever reason though, I'm not getting the inputs for it. Let's try it with this bird and then see what we do. See if it's an issue with the templated birds.
Okay, but you do have the hit H rotor and all that stuff.
Yeah, so it is hit H rotor and hit V rotor because I'm not seeing it either.
I've done it on this template before with Grayson.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not behaving. All right, let's give this a go.
Yeah, that's really weird. Lee never responded, did he?
No.
No, I don't think so.
I was moving in front of him, and he like did the friendly dance, so.
Yeah, I just sent him back to the box. I don't know where he was.
Hey, Chief, what if I did engine off on the main screen there? What if I did engine off instead of damage? Would that give you your input still?
It should, but really, I don't know why H rotor's not working the way it's supposed to. Let's see where we get with this. It's like even when you did the fuel, it wasn't acting right. It's like I had the collective all the way up, and it was just still going down like I had completely dropped the collective.
Yeah, I watched you. You were dropping like a rock.
Alright, whenever you're ready.
Hydraulics failure.
Okay, H rotor.
Hydraulics failure.
Let's see what we got.
Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure.
Yep, nope, same thing. You're gonna have to repair it.
Hydraulics failure.
No,
Okay.
no input.
You got
I
power
wonder
back.
I wonder if it's because you're in the co-pilot seat.
It might be. We can give that a go.
May I try it once? See if it doesn't bug out?
Yeah, you said you've been doing it. You've been practicing it. So here, I'll give you the controls. Controls are yours.
Alright.
Alright, just get up some altitude and speed, and then I'll have them hit it and see if it works for you. It's really freaking annoying. Alright, go for it.
Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure. Hydraulics failure.
Do you have collective input?
Hydraulics failure.
I have it all the way down.
Hydraulics
Now when you pull it
failure.
up, is it actually doing anything?
Hydraulics failure.
Alright. Well,
And
see,
Hydraulics failure.
see if you can make this. You still got time to gain it back.
Hydraulics failure.
Pull up hard. Pitch up, pitch up, pitch up really hard.
Hydraulics failure.
Collective all the way down. And bring it up slowly.
Hydraulics failure. Warning, critical damage.
Oh, that's a death. So he got me out. Let's do Chief Blair. Oh, come on. Yeah, he's like dead. Where the hell is he? He's like under the bird. Shit. I don't know what the hell I just did there. He resurrect, or he, he must have respawned. I don't know what the hell the issue is tonight, guys. We're having, control issues and shit.
Hello?
Ah, shit. We're fucking figuring it out. That's alright.
I had all the inputs because as soon as I let go of like pushing down on the collective and started pulling up, I noticed it started gliding and then picked up. So
All right, so let me see where Edwards is.
There he is.
I'm right here.
Where'd you go?
Oh, I teleported myself to the base and then I'm back again.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, sounds like he's got inputs. I'm not sure what the deal is with co-pilot seats, so we'll go with that.
Okay.
Let's do it. Actually, let me go ahead and let me sit in the pilot seat so I can at least do the other one for you,
Okay.
and then we'll switch.
It's better. Freaking work.
Hey, Edwards, can you hear him?
Affirm.
Alright, so, barring the technical issue with the seat over there, auto rotations aren't too bad. It's really all about timing, getting that timing right, and then you'll be alright. So, we're gonna
That's
just,
right.
Edwards, I just need you to be quick on the draw here. I just want to check and make sure that everything is square with this seat. See if it's not just my stuff. So I'm going to get speed and altitude, and then we're going to do the H rotor, and then we'll transition, if everything is good, into the V rotor.
Okay, copy. H rotor first.
Yep. And it's just going to be a real quick check to make sure that it's working the way it's supposed to.
Affirm.
I'm pretty sure I've demoed that before in the co-pilot seat, so I'm not sure what the issue is.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Chief. When I did mine, I was in an Apache. I don't know if that made any difference, but
Cheater. Alright, go ahead and hit that whenever you're ready. Go ahead and fix it.
okay, fixed.
Must be something on my end, because it's still not working over here. Alright, well, that sucks. Well, what we'll do, we'll just do the V rotor. I guess since I can't actually demo the H rotor for some reason.
Okay, copy.
I feel confident in it. Alright, so go ahead and do the V rotor. Alright, so with the V rotor, you'll notice that as soon as he hit that, the aircraft immediately turned to the right. That's because it's opposite of the rotor blade. So now your goal is, you need to fly to your LC. So in this case, since we're going fast, we can still maintain speed since we're, weather vaning here. So we're going to go ahead and get turned back around, and then we're going to land at the salt flats. So again, the process here is very similar to the main rotor failure. Maintain speed as much as you can, and then as you get ready to land, you're going to reduce that collective down. The lower you can get it, the better off you'll be. And then as your speed slows down, the bird is going to want to rotate. So the better you get that, the better you balance it all, the less you're going to rotate when you come in for a landing. So let's see how well we can do here. So I got my collective all the way down. I want to go ahead and drop my altitude as much as I can. I'm going to set my glide path here so I can bleed off some of this speed.
And
I'm actually going quite a bit faster than I wanted to, so we're going to have to bleed off more.
standing by here in case he needs me to fix this V rotor.
But that's okay.
When McDonald does it, then we'll
So
go
I'm a little
ahead
bit faster and a little bit higher than I wanted to be.
then we'll go ahead and change it. Yeah, Ghost, McDonald's a
Once you
5.0.
hit that 80,
So
that's when it's gonna kick in.
I guess he figured that
Yep.
real life,
Well, it's a little bit for that too.
Yeah.
his gaming life
See, we're already starting to rotate. It's all right.
should match his real life.
See, now it likes to do this side slip thing. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, it's just really high. But, you know, if this is what you got to do, then that's what you got to do. And just like that, it's pretty easy. You know, nothing too crazy there. The one thing that we're not going to have you do is take off like this, but I'm going to go ahead and show it for you. So obviously, if I do full power, the bird's going to just
Stay by, Chief.
spin around. Oh,
Yeah, I know what you mean though.
Sorry about that. If you want to land, I'll redo that.
nope, just go ahead and kill it. Alright, so obviously with full power, we're going to spin around here. So I want to fly south, okay? So if you look at your compass, when you're facing south, you want to pitch down. When you're facing north, you want to pitch up. So let's see if we can't go ahead. And the whole time you're doing this, you want to have full power, because what's going to happen is you got to pitch the aircraft, and you're going to start losing altitude. So let's see how we can do. Alright, let's see if this is enough pitch. A lot of people tend to go overkill with this, and
then it'll throw them into that. It'll just lock them.
yeah, it'll. Well, the other piece too. I think one more rotation, and we should be good. There we go. And you'll see that they. What'll happen is they'll end up, you know, losing a lot of altitude and crashing into the ground. So the nice thing about the anti-torque is you can, you know, you can practice this over and over and over and over again without actually having to go back into Zeus. So that's a nice piece. So I'm going to go ahead and land. We'll switch seats, and then I'll let you do both the auto rotation and the anti-torque. Let's see if I can get a little bit better of a landing here. And you know, we use the salt flat because that's a nice open spot for you guys to practice in. Give you guys the best opportunity of success, right?
Cool.
I'm gonna have to, on my own, do some testing with why my stuff ain't working. So I'm still 0 collective here. I'm just using speed to bleed off. Well, a little damage, but still survivable. Alright, if you could, go ahead and repair the bird while we switch seats.
Okay, repair the bird. Okay, I got you.
And we'll need a heal too. If you don't mind. Repair it and heal us.
Copy.
And give us fuel.
And repair the bird.
Working on it. You
See,
fucked
man,
it up.
Yeah, I'm so frustrated from my freaking collective not working right. Go. Alright, so what I need you to do is fly at 300 meters AGL and fly at 175. And then once I give Edwards the word, we'll go ahead and hit your main road.
Alrighty.
Oh, come on. I hate it when it fucking does this. Ah. Alright, whatever.
I'm just gonna make a loop and come back around over.
Yep, that's fine.
A little damage, right? Yeah, a little damage. Half the system's in the freaking in the bird. Hey, they say that anytime you survive an auto rotation, that's a good time. So
Okay, 300 and 175.
Yep.
But
okay, let's do this. All right, let's see how he does. Not bad, not bad. Lead off speed, looking good. Ugh, that's
a
all
little
right.
too early.
All right, survivable. So the reason that happened is because you hit the tail. The tail hit first, but
Yeah.
no big deal. If you could go ahead and give us a repair, and then we'll go back for the anti-torque.
Hey, firm.
All right, you can go and spin us back up. But yep, not bad. I could been practicing, so that's good.
It wasn't bad, yeah. That was survivable. He could have evacuated and done his thing after that. So good job. I think I'm getting the hang of this Zeus, and I might have to give Top a run for his money. Not. Right, Mike? Yeah. I'll tell you what.
For this one, it's going to be 175 kilometers an hour with 175 meters of altitude.
Okay.
Oh, he is absolutely the freaking god. I try to watch what he's doing when he's doing this shit, flipping all around and picking everything, and it just blows my mind. Yeah, exactly. I appreciate the vote of confidence, though, guys. I really do. Yeah, okay. We'll go with the close 10th. There we go. I'll take 10th. Alright, so now he's anti-torque.
We're all gonna die. All right. Now just remember with this one, you got plenty of opportunity.
Alright, so he's bleeding off speed. Should start to. He's
Watch the
getting
speed.
a little hot. Oh, he's got it. Oh. Alright, that's
Well, that's pretty good. I don't think I've ever seen a reverse landing, but
that was
hey,
impressive.
That's survivable.
And then you said, can I just do the takeoff?
Yep, let's do some extra credit here. I want you to go to the southwest.
Southwest, okay.
Alright, so here we go. Taking off.
Remember, get altitude.
Yeah, he did a really good job there. The I think the standard is
There you go.
1.5 turns, and he did about one.
I got it. I got it.
Keep that collective up. Yep, there you go.
Oh,
Right,
he
go ahead
recovered.
and,
Good job.
RCB.
You want to repair?
Yeah. That was pretty easy, ain't it?
Yeah.
Hey, nice job, man.
Thank you.
Can't say I've ever seen that reverse landing though. That was something.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Sometimes too, I forgot to do it, but it still worked out because I had the speed to, I guess, push through it. I would take off the wheel brakes. So if I do get it on the deck, I'll just roll off the speed without it turning on me that much. And then after lock up the brakes.
Hey, can you release the controls?
Oh, no.
Alright, controls are mine. I just wanna, you were mentioning something about the wheel brakes. I wanna show you something. So a lot of people obviously we don't use the advanced flight model. And there's some limitations that we have with that. And one of them is, normally, Blackhawks, because they have the wheels, they taxi with the wheels. They don't, while they can still do the hovering taxi, they don't have to like we do. There is one cool thing though. We can actually land at speed, but there's a certain way you got to do it.
Oh yeah, there's one thing I always do in practice. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. It's like real wishy-washy. You have to get it right.
So, from the testing, I believe Edwards was with me when we tested this. So the key here is really below 90 kmh. So we go ahead and say 70 for margin of error. And the key is landing with all three wheels at the same time. If you land with the back, like a regular Blackhawk would, you're almost always gonna blow the aircraft up. So let's see if we can get it to work. Or we'll all die, one of the two.
We're either gonna land or we're all gonna die. So this is good shit.
So we're at 70-ish. See? It does work.
Nice.
Then from here you gotta cycle the brakes so it actually stops. But my brake key is not working either. What the hell?
I don't know, sometimes, I'll just be around on the server, and then, I was about to say, wait, why aren't my controls working?
Yeah, that's weird.
No, I mean, I have no, oh, there we go.
Well,
Thought
that's
see
because I
it.
got...
Oh,
Yeah, it's not working because I got...
I'll try to, pitch it forward just to get it to start it rolling, and then after it'll
what we
work
live for, right,
sometimes,
Mike?
but then when it comes to that turn,
It's either gonna work or
that's
we're all
when I
gonna
have
die.
to, angle
One of
it
the
a
two.
bit, or it'll just slide it.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on with my stuff. It's aggravating. But anyway. Look at that. What an awesome, perfect.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And I toggle the brakes in time because you're rolling.
No, my brake toggle's not working. I don't know if it's because I'm in this seat or what. Let me check my controls, see what's going on.
All right. Well, you know what? This was a pretty successful day
What's
for
it labeled as?
for WOC McDonald.
Just be wheel brake.
Yeah, is that under helicopter though?
Give me 1 second.
Wait a second, that is not what I had it set as.
Yeah, wheel brake. It's on
Wheel
the
brake, yeah,
helicopter.
hold and release.
Yeah, weird. It's telling me it's right control W.
That's what mine says too, but I think it's supposed to be like B, isn't it, or something like that?
That's the
Yeah.
default. Unless, I think, because mine also says right control W.
Yeah, I don't know if we actually changed it or not.
I know B is for bling.
It used to be B. So,
Mm.
there is a possibility that in some mods, in the mod packs, that it overwrites your stuff.
I was just told that there's 2 wheel brakes, one for RHS and one for vanilla. So I don't know if maybe that has something to do with it.
Maybe. Whatever. I'll mess with it later. Alright, let's get out.
Are you feeling threatened?
He looks threatening.
And Edwards, you may want to, or actually, I may want to fix myself too.
Oh.
Edwards, you need to fix your. Well, you all need to fix ourselves. Jeez.
If you guys would learn how to fly, we wouldn't have to do this.
Oof.
Or maybe if I would learn how to full heal.
Yeah. Man, I just had that helicopter detailed too.
It'll buff.
Alright, all dumb stuff aside. Pretty damn impressive day two. From the
Absolutely.
very beginning, with communication, flight planning, was all pretty spot on. You've
Yeah, it's
clearly
definitely going to
been
need another
reading
detail.
and practicing on your own. It makes a tremendous difference when you come in here, and it
Sexy
really
as
helps
hell,
us a
though.
lot because we don't have to repeat as much. Just a few things, continue to work on your fine flight controls, continue to work on the multitasking piece. So for your day three, we're going to start doing sling loading and airdropping, and then day four we'll move into the CAS stuff. So once you move into CAS, it's really when everything comes together in terms of communication, task overload, and really we test your ability to multitask on several fronts, from marking targets, identifying targets, calling them down to dagger, and the whole 9 yards. So you'll, before you go to day four, you're going to want to brush up on 9 lines, 5 lines.
They're busy
all open
back
that,
in the
document
shack
for day
playing
4.
euchre. We can't get the
But
fucking
overall,
crew
pretty
chiefs to
good
do
day
anything
for
for us,
day
Emo.
2. Nothing too crazy that I'm concerned with. I think we pretty much hit everything at this point. Edwards, do you have anything you want to contribute?
Thank you, Chief. No, just reiterating what you said. Really good day 2. I mean, I think you nailed pretty much everything. The auto torque and the anti torque was it was really good. It was impressive seeing that bird land backwards. I thought you did really well. You know, in all aspects. Some obviously some little things to work on here and there, but really good day 2.
All right. Do you have any questions, comments, concerns for anything from day 1, day 2, and then anything that you may have read already for day 3 or 4?
Day 3, I only think I'll just have to. I don't know if we're gonna be doing it for day 3, but day 3, I just have to work on 9 lines. 5, I know how it goes. I just need to practice it uh, with like a dagger. Sling loads, I normally do that in general whenever I'm playing like vanilla ArmA. So
All right. So it shouldn't be an issue then. Yeah. With that said, good day 2. Keep up the practice. That's all I got. Good job. You're good. Clear
Just
to...
one thing, Chief.
sorry,
Just to let you know, for day 2, I don't know if you actually ever timed it or not, but for your para dropping of cargo for day 2, or for day 3, just remember that the official servers have like about a 3-second delay. If you were to do it like on your own editor or whatever, it's like 15 seconds or something. So obviously try to get as much practice on the para dropping as you can on the official servers. And again, like I said, it's about a 3-second delay on that.
yeah, whenever I do any type of flight practicing, I either come on here or like somebody else's server that has a template. So it's either one of these or 1.4s.
Yeah, I would try to stick to the official ones as much as possible. That way you know that everything's set up right. All right, with that, you're clear to go ahead and disconnect.